Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. Our victim today here is my 1959 Ford F-100, and well, we're going to do an old start on this thing. It's been almost exactly a year since we got this thing running and driving after it had sat, as best as I could tell, since the late 1980s, so this thing had been sitting for a long time. Now, this thing ran and drove around the yard magnificently. I have done literally nothing. I mean, this thing hasn't moved an inch since the end of the last video, the last time you guys saw this thing, the last time I worked on it. So, all we're going to do today, honestly, is just get it running again, driving again, and I'm going to go park it out back where the Jeeps are. It's getting along to be about that time up here in the Great North where we need to start thinking about snow and moving stuff around and having space in the yard. So I'm going to go ahead and put this thing out back where it's going to be safe. It won't get bumped into by anybody plowing snow or anything like that, and where, well, I know it'll be safe. So yeah, first things first, she's going to need some wind in the tires there, and well, just that one needs wind, but I think we'll get this thing running first, and then we'll worry about the tires. If anybody did see the revival video, this thing's got a pretty sassy 292 Y block in it. This was Ford's replacement for the flathead V8, of course. One of their first, I think this was their first mass-produced overhead valve V8. Pretty cool engines. They're kind of funky in a lot of ways. I think they're neat. So all this thing really should need, provided that it's got oil in it. Make sure it holds coolant, which is kind of fascinating because neither radiator hose was new, and this radiator itself came out of another truck that was kind of a mess, so that's interesting. I won't complain though. It appears to have too much oil in it. So that's better than not enough, right? Although the dipstick does go down a lot farther than it should, so that's probably why. It has oil, that's all we needed. So we should just be able to strap our old fuel cell back on the front here. Throw a battery in this thing and some gas down the carby there. You know, there really is just nothing better than having a sassy old yard jalopy like the Flatski here. This thing's rad. One thing I sort of thought I might need to double check is if we still have a clutch, because I kind of forgot. This darn thing has a hydraulic clutch, so that's fun. Oh, yeah, we're in business. Brakes are optional though. I might actually throw some fluid in the brakes and see if it'll take, because it would be kind of cool if it had brakes. But we got our fuel cell mounted. Hey, I totally forgot. That's a pretty good screwdriver there. Just guess I forgot that under the hood. So a battery and some fuel in the carburetor now. This thing, the fuel pump did work on this thing, and that's what it was running off of before, so we'll see if that's held out. And the accelerator pump on the carburetor was still good last time this thing ran, so theoretically it shouldn't even hardly leak any fuel. Alrighty. Got a battery installed. Should just be able to throw some of the good stuff down here. Let us see. Getting some accelerator pump action out of that. Now we just gotta throw the coil wire in here somehow, one-handed. That's a good sign. It's not even connected. Hold on, I'm gonna get that fixed properly. Alrighty, theoretically, this thing should fire right off, because that's definitely how it always works around here. Man, I forgot how deluxe this seat was. Look at this thing. I think the seat was out of a GM car. Sure it's in neutral. It automatically closes the hood for you. Well, that works. Man, this thing is loyal. I really wish I had the time to work on it more. +40 pounds of oil pressure. That gauge. You guys couldn't see it before. Man, this thing's rad. Oh yeah, this thing's cherry. Man, why don't I daily drive this thing? If I recall, the throttle was either everything or nothing. There we go. Alrighty, we've got a parking spot figured out for this thing out back here. And man, I'd love to use this thing more, but just needs a little more work than I'm willing to put into it at the moment. Anyhow, still needs a fan. It still has no charging system. Whoever took the generator and the generator brackets and everything off of this thing back in the day, they just cut all the wires off the voltage regulator, took the voltage regulator, so all that was gone. Obviously, like I said, I still need a fan. This thing, it's not a lot of work, but it's enough work that I just don't have the time for it at the moment, so she sits for now. But this thing will have a nice safe parking spot here. It'll be a good out of the way spot for it. Let's see if we can get this wire nonsense figured out without shocking myself. That should do. Let's see how this thing hot restarts. Oh yeah, the other reason I don't really use this thing around the yard is I've got no way to shut it off from the cab. I have to open the hood and pull that wire. So that's kind of a pain. And then, like, it lost brakes between last year and now, which isn't too surprising, but just some stuff. Or else I'd really, you know, use this thing. I kind of want to rally it around some, but oh yeah. Man, are these old Fords ever loyal. Well, folks, here's home for the old girl for the time being, anyhow. We'll probably pull this thing out next spring. I want to get some equipment in here and kind of level. You can see this thing sitting crooked. Part of that's due to the tire that probably went flat overnight. Yep. So the flat tire and whatnot's making this thing sit more crooked, but the ground's definitely not level back here. But we're definitely working on getting some stuff moved back here out of the way. You know, things won't get bumped into back here. Kind of a safe spot for everything. And it's just so pretty out here. I love putting minty old rigs out back in the woods where they just look at home, you know? So, anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Sorry we didn't, you know, give her hell or anything, razzing the old girl around the yard or nothing. We just kind of putzed her back here and parked the old thing for now. Kind of in a rush, what with winter coming. I know it's still, well, actually, snow sticking to the ground's probably like a month and a half away yet, but, you know, every day is kind of counting down, and you kind of got to get things tucked away while you're still working on other projects and doing other things. So, slowly but surely, we'll be ready for winter up here in the north. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.